the moment. So, Tony Hehir, Limerick Celtics basketball. Delighted to have him coaching insights. Tony, how is COVID-19 treating you? Obviously, no basketball at the moment, but I'm sure you're still working away.
Yeah, working with my own job, but strange times with sport. Miss being active and out and about coaching. But I suppose it's the world we're living in right now. We just have to wait for everything to come back, and hopefully we'll be back in September.
Yeah, I know everyone watching this will be familiar with the Limerick Celtics. We'll touch on that later on. But what about Tony Hehir? Famed basketball star in your youth turned coach. Is that the story?
I wish. Yeah, National League, and I suppose when I was involved in the National League, you look back at the younger teams in the club, and you got to the stage where you felt it was time to put some time back into coaching. And that's how I got involved in coaching. When I was involved with Marathon Basketball Club, I got involved with coaching the under 12s and 14 boys in the club, and enjoyed coaching. So I suppose I got a taste for it then, and came back a few years later then when my own son was born.
Tell me, what about basketball? How did you get into that first day? Like a lot of people, was it through school?
No, my two brothers set up Marathon Basketball Club back then. So I was more into handball and other sports. So you were dragged along to the basketball matches to start, and just picked up a ball and I suppose started getting more involved with games and training myself, and just found a love for it then when the more that I played.
Tell me about coaching then. Everyone that we've spoken to in this series picks up different bits from coaches they've coached with and under. Is that something you would have done as you were coming up playing and then moving into coaching?
Yeah, I mean, Tabby would have coached National League, so would have been on a lot of tea sessions, and Martin was actively coaching as well, so I would have picked up a lot of stuff from them. And then I suppose basketball is such a universal sport; it's very easy to get coaching resources from the United States and from Europe, so it's very easy to find stuff on basketball if you're a basketball coach and you want to learn a lot. There's lots of resources and lots of information out there.
A lot of people we spoke to on this have broken down their sport for us and how technical it is. Basketball, so technical, such a difficult sport. Enjoyable, yes, but very difficult to master.
Yeah, I think when I started coaching first, you got a drill and you used the drill, but you didn't really realize what the purpose of the drill was and how technical the sport was. And the more you get involved with coaching, you do practice plans. You're nearly looking at specific segments that you're trying to work on at each training session, and getting the kids or the older players to buy into that. Like most of the kids just think it's about picking up a ball and shooting it. And I suppose that's the enjoyable part, or the whole offensive skill stuff is really enjoyable, but it's teaching them the other parts that can be quite hard, and getting them to understand that.
Yeah, you're again breaking down the game, offense and defense. Offense complicated, defense complicated. It's which is easier to coach?
Um, like defense is harder because nobody wants to play defense. Everyone wants the ball, and I from that point of view, especially younger age groups, it's harder to teach team defense and positioning, and that stuff you really have to take a whole session and break it down bit by bit and piece it all together in their minds and get them to understand their role. I suppose the sport too changes a lot. Like from even back to when Jordan was there to now, it's completely different from the point of view of how it's played. So it's staying with the curve of the sport too, and learning I suppose the new tactics and the new way that the sport is evolving.
How important is individual skill in this, Tony? How important is the person that does so much off the court away from the set training sessions?
It's huge. It's such a high skill sport that like kids have to put in huge hours if they want to be good at basketball. Like people talk about taking 1,000 shots a week, or some of the best players in the world are shooting 1,000 shots a day. It's all about quantity of getting out and doing the skill over and over, but doing it properly, and being taught the proper techniques of how to shoot, the proper techniques of how to dribble. But it's about then getting them to do that. There was an interesting piece I saw yesterday, which a coach had broken it down. She's just doing 10 minutes of ball handling every day, which is doesn't seem a huge amount, but when you put all that together, you have 52 hours at the end of the year. That can bring you to a completely different place skill-wise. So I think it's just getting them to understand how to do the skill, demonstrating it, getting them to work in it, and then for them to try and get it to that skill to a very high level.
Yeah, what about basketball in general then, Tony, in terms of in Ireland? It's always been a popular sport. Obviously had massive days back in the 80s in Ireland and subsequently has grown again now. Why does Ireland love basketball so much?
Yeah, I'd say back in the 80s, it was just the whole emergence of all these high-level Americans from America, and you had Erasmus Haas of them dunking, and the Terry Stricklands and the Jasper McElroys really brought that sport to incredible level and interest, and it's coming back. I think the level of the Irish players right now is probably at a very high level compared to even then. You've kids coming through, whether in Celtics or the other clubs around the country, and they're getting they're getting to see a lot of the NBA, they're getting to see a lot of the college basketball, they're getting a lot of training every week and getting very high level competitions. So the sport and the numbers are growing, and it's becoming a big school sport. So I think the amount of kids that are playing and the level is definitely growing. And I suppose the NBA and college basketball and European basketball, that's big for kids to watch. It's exciting, and it's got huge following.
Yeah, from someone that covers multiple sports for a living, a lot could be learned from Basketball Ireland in the way they promote their own games. As you said, the schools' cup finals are streamed on YouTube for anyone to watch or go back and watch. A lot of high-level coaching courses offered as well. Coverage of the national leagues at the weekend is driven by Basketball Ireland, all that kind of stuff. So that brings me to my next question. Good underage coaching, giving kids a chance to play the actual game and get to it. How does someone go about setting up a club? I don't think I've ever done an interview with someone who's actually physically set up a club. It would be like talking to the fellow who originally set up Munster or set up a club back in the 1880s. How did you go about it, or where did this come from? Limerick Celtics.
It was just something like Jordan. My son Jordan was 6 or 7 at the time, and we were in the States, and we were coming back, and we were saying it'd be great just to have an opportunity for him to play basketball locally. At the time, there was no club in Doradile. The other clubs were in Corbley, in the city centre, and I suppose we wanted to have a bit of involvement in him learning to play basketball, considering Michelle is now a Hall of Fame, a basketball Hall of Famer, and she had an incredible basketball career. So we wanted to have, I suppose, a hands-on approach to helping him out develop. So we just decided we would do a Sunday morning session in Skull Carmel actually at the time, and we had about 8 or 9 of his friends, and thought we'd probably do this for a few years, and it just grew. I think by year 1 and 2 we had 20 or 30 kids, and then by year 3 we had 150. It's almost 400 kids. So now there was a lot of structuring, and we had incredible involvement from parents who were managing teams, and when I say managing, more doing the administration side of stuff, and we had very good committees coming through, and we still do. I mean, it's not just down to Michelle and Tony, it's down to all the incredible people in Celtics who put in a huge amount of time. But we've been very fortunate to have great kids, great families, and it keeps growing.
Yeah, it keeps going. And one of the things I've noticed in recent years covering Limerick sport is the amount of kids that have a Limerick Celtics background that are now playing basketball in America, getting their opportunity, as you say, through scholarships or through game time over there. That standard is going up all the time.
Yeah, and like Eve Nealon is just after signing a college Division 2 scholarship in the States. Cy Murphy was out last year. She had a cruciate injury. She's heading to Akron University in Ohio for Division 1 girls scholarship. And we have some other boys who are coming through who will definitely end up in the United States in scholarships. And I think that's fantastic for the sport, because hopefully those players will come back to Ireland at some stage and bring all that incredible experience and talent back to our own national league.
Without downplaying the importance of any other sport against another, but like basketball has been proven to improve the ball skills, hand-eye coordination for other sports. Is it a sport that you think more people should try and play alongside maybe a Gaelic football, for prime example?
Yeah, I mean, like if you look at John David, who's a prime example of a guy who has excelled at 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 at, at, at intercounty GA and should have been like an all-star several times over. And John is still playing basketball, and just his tactical awareness of where he should be on the football pitch and his skill level because of basketball. Paul O'Connell played basketball at a young age with Arts Scarish. Conor Murray would have attended all Michelle's camps when Michelle would have done her summer camps all the way up through primary school. So those three guys alone are great examples of of sports stars who have excelled in other sports, who have all played basketball at young ages.
So Jeremy, we were talking about the level of time that goes into it. Give us I know Ken Moore told me he was working 7 days a week for St. Francis Boxing Club. Is Tony Hehir working 7 days a week to keep basketball on the road?
Well, outside of work, yeah, I would put a lot of time in, but I would have a huge amount of help from all the other coaches in the club. But yeah, I put a lot of time in. But I mean, that's kind of your downtime from when you're finished work, and it's something that I enjoy. I enjoy sport and I enjoy being hands-on. So yeah, I don't know if I'm doing as much as the boxing coach does. I think that's some incredible dedication he has.
Tell me, what's standing in the huddle of a men's, top division team now that you have it, and women's obviously, in the huddle there, drawing up plays, talking to players of this generation compared to what yourself and your brothers would have been talking to several years ago when you were playing. What's different now about coaching from when you were playing?
I think it's probably more tactical. Like the level is a little bit stronger. Not taken away from like when I played, but players have more. I suppose they have more options to look at a higher level sport, and they're looking to play at a higher level. They're looking for tactical stuff. They're doing a lot more in strength and conditioning work, and they're in better shape. So I think it's a bit more demanding, but at the same time, you have it's like you're going to win a game, and when we looked at Jordan's thing the other day, you can write all the X and O's that you want, but it comes down to the player who can put the ball in the basket. So you can run all the fantastic plays, but at the end of the day, it's whoever has the ball at the end of that play has to have put the work in on all the different individual stuff,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Bring it up. We'll bookend the conversation. So we'll talk. Obviously, Michael Jordan's had a huge influence on you, and you're a big fan coming up through basketball. The Last Dance documentary that's out at the moment. How would Tony Hehir have coached someone like a Michael Jordan if you had him in your dressing room?
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. You'd be just so in awe that you had a Michael Jordan. I mean, it's just, I think it's a fantastic documentary, the whole documentary first to Last Dance, because it's giving you an insight into the level of sport that a Michael Jordan would have played and everything that surrounded that. But I mean, a Michael Jordan is just a phenomenal basketball player who, was probably born to play basketball when you look at him, because there's no other way you can describe him. He was just incredible to deliver in huge games, and he had so much talent. But like we haven't had a Michael Jordan, but we've had some great players over the years, and yeah, I'd be delighted to have a Michael Jordan if he ever came to Limerick and play for Celtics.
Last one from me. COVID-19 lockdown, kids at home, a lot of them getting more time maybe to play basketball, shoot hoops. You could potentially have more people interested in basketball based on documentaries or having shooted around or shot around with their friends during this lockdown. Is there a chance here that we could see a potential boom in the game in the coming months and years after this lockdown?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, definitely, like kids who are sitting outside our house, if there's or playing outside our house, if there's a basketball hoop there, it keeps them busy for hours on end. And I think the sport, if the sport puts in the right development structures and keeps developing coaching and develops more coaches and keeps developing good competitions, I think definitely there's a huge chance that basketball will grow and grow and grow.
Well, listen, Tony, thank you very much for your time. Won't take much longer. Brilliant insight into Limerick Celtics, and in a couple of years' time, I'm sure you'll retire off the back of a few NBA contracts, WNBA contracts. They look after you in time to come.
Thanks, I wish.
Anytime.